is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Magenta. And Magenta has a question about hair. And particularly, does longer hair make it easier to practice psychism and magic? And Magenta references the idea that longer hair acts as a kind of antenna, that it helps you to be more open to psychic energies, and that it holds and remembers those energies. And Magenta would like my opinion on this subject. And my answer to this is that this is certainly what I was taught when I was young. It's one of the reasons, though by no means the only reason, I tend to wear my own hair long. However, I have also worn my hair short on occasion, and I would have to say that on a personal level I did not particularly notice a difference. So what I would say is that for some people this will be more the case than others. And I also want to reference in particular that idea that hair holds memory and that it holds energy. And you'll notice if you look at the mourning customs of many parts of the world, cutting the hair was often an important part of mourning. And I believe that had to do with releasing the energy associated with the person who had crossed over, releasing particularly the pain and sadness felt at their death. And the person would be in mourning until their hair had grown back. And you find this on both sides of the Atlantic, and very ancient and very modern times, and very widespread. In ancient Egypt it was particularly important, and hair was very strongly associated with the rites of mourning and death. And that sense of cutting it and sacrificing it to the spirit of the deceased, and with it releasing the energy of the pain and loss that is felt. I do believe that hair tends to hold energy. Therefore, if you want to make a big change in life, cutting your hair can be a really good way to do it. But as to the issue of whether it makes magic and psychism easier, again, I was always taught that it was, and I tend to believe that. But I know many people who have short hair and practice magic and psychism just fine, so I would say you should see what works best for you. It certainly is a huge social thing, and having long hair, particularly if you're a man, but also if you're a woman, makes a certain social statement. And that's something to certainly be aware of also, and it has a certain psychological impact. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, depending upon the circumstance and the person, but it definitely has it. And long hair is not something that most people react to in any kind of neutral way. It tends to provoke a reaction from people, and I don't believe that would be the case if there were not some deeper spiritual importance to it. And people tend to fear long hair, and particularly long hair on men, but they can sometimes have the same reaction to women depending on the circumstance. If you think about it, the historical image of the Halloween witch is always of an older woman with long flowing hair, which was somehow considered frightening. And the idea behind this is that long flowing hair was the state in which magic was most easily practiced, and you'll find a lot of old ideas reflecting this. Although the opposite can also be true. You'll find magical traditions wherein spells are woven into the hair as it's braided, for example. So hair has certainly always been very magical, and I certainly do subscribe to the belief that the longer hair helps you to be more psychically and magically open. However, that's not always what everyone needs. Some people need to be more grounded and more closed, and they'll do better with the shorter hair. I think it really, in a lot of ways, is a very personal thing. The other thing that I will observe toward the close of this vlog is that you'll notice in many societies historically, the longer hair marked the shaman or the priest or the priestess, where shorter hair tended to mark the warrior or other walks of life. On the other hand, we have monks and nuns who have historically practiced shaving of the head. And I believe that that has to do with keeping out unwanted psychic influences and focusing internally, which is what monks and nuns normally do. All of these things to me come together to say that the longer hair helps you to be open, and the shorter hair tends to keep you more closed, either of which can be desirable in different circumstances. So those would be my thoughts on the matter. I hope you find them helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you for Pagans Tonight Radio. Pagans Tonight Radio is an online radio network with different hosts and different shows 7 nights a week. There's something for every taste, including Spanish language programming on Saturday evening. Check out paganstonight.com today.